All right, welcome everybody. As you know, today we are going to be painting Test of Honor. I've got a couple of the units here put together and built. I got them primed up in gray. I primed them yesterday. All right, welcome everybody. Oops. So I got that ready to go. So I'll wait a couple minutes just to let you know. So I've got three of the spearmen and then one of the bowmen. So I think that's probably what we'll start with today. The other thing is with Test of Honor, the tricky part here with painting these guys is the fact that it's not like a World War II or anything like that. So I don't exactly know color scheme wise where to go sometimes. So I'm kind of looking. So I've got one color scheme in mind right now, and that is with the red. So I'm going to definitely go with the red there. It's the one you see on the boxes and stuff like that. So I'm going to go with that. Hey Leland. And I'll go with that. I know when Janice and I play, we'll need to have another clan. So I've been looking up some of the historical clan colors and stuff like that to try to get a second color to go as well. But I think that we're just going to go. With the red today and some blue and kind of go a little bit normal. So I'm also going to paint a little different than you probably. They're not that vastly different. I'm not doing anything earth-shattering here. But what I'm going to do is I'm probably, these guys are small, and I am not going to do any dry brushing on these guys. So I am going to base coat them and then shade them. Then I am going to use thin layers of the base coat and then of a lighter shade to do the highlighting. So all of the highlighting that I'll do on these guys will be done with the brush. So with the round brush. So I'm never going to dry brush anything. So you'll get to see a little bit of that. That's how I started painting. It's a little bit longer, but with these little guys like this, it's funny because it seems kind of like the smaller the model gets, the more detailed things want to go. If you think of like trains, I used to do model trains, or still kind of do. You know, the smaller the gauge of the train, it seems like the more detail you got to get. So with these guys, are a little bit smaller than what we're used to. So I'm gonna try to get them a little bit detailed there with the brush. So I've got all my paints there behind me. So we'll go ahead and dive on in. Hey Dennis, Leland, Dutch, Sparhawk. Hey. So guys, like I said, we'll go through any questions that you got. Hey, what are you doing? If you want to shout at me, I'll keep an eye on the chat so I can see what's going on. So again, if I start getting out of control, like you can't see what I'm doing every once in a while, you just let me know in capitals and chat or something like that, or Leland will send me a text and say, hey, nobody can see what you're doing. All right, and we will get started with these guys. So I'll be using my number 1 brush today. I've got it's a little bit of a smaller brush because again, everything. I actually need to see one thing here. There we go. I'll actually be using this a little bit smaller brush. Oops, it's actually brand new, and I haven't. So yeah, let's get that point nice and good, and we'll get started with these guys. All right, let me get this so I can actually see what I'm doing on the screen and chat at the same time. There we go. Oh no, hold on. Moving windows around. All right, there we go. Now I got everything how we want it. All right, so let's get these. And again, what I've done, these guys have no bases yet, so I've actually taken some of my these are the old washes. I primed them on that. I got the little sticky putty there, and I just stuck them onto the top there, and I'll use those to hold them. So because I don't have bases on them yet, because I don't. If I don't have to put the bases on, I don't like to put the bases on, because again, when you try to paint in here and try to do in there, it's really hard to do that when there's a base involved, because you can't come at it from underneath it. So here, if I need to paint him, I can always pull him right off the top, hold him by his head, and work on him upside down. So I like that. So, like I said, I like to start from the inside out, and on the inside I'm going to do with the pants here and the inside of there. So I'm going to go with I'm going to start off with a base coat of Macarab Blue from Citadel. All right. And what I'll do is I'll probably just put some here. And again, all of my paints today are already a little bit diluted. But again, I'll always kind of put a drop in or anything like that. I'm not using the wet palette today. I go back and forth between the wet palette and the dry palette. So again, I got it a little bit thin in here. I want my mixes to be a little bit thin. Hey Valorian, how you doing today? Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. And again, I just saw Rob just put up his updated top 25 list of Gen Con, so check that out. That was good. I'm glad some of the ones that I was looking forward to, he's now looking forward to. I just broke off his samurai swords. I picked them up a little bit too harsh. That's okay. We'll glue that back on later. It's easy to work with anyway without it. All right. So as we go. So, and again, if you see, this is my light. So if it gets in there every once in a while, that's what that is. But as you can see, we're going on kind of thin. It is going to be a little bit thin when it goes on, which is what we want. I don't want it to be super thick. I want it to still pick up that detail and stuff like that. So I keep them thin, and that helps out. Again, but it's a different way to paint because you have to control it a little bit better. My Wednesday was 5 minutes ago. Yeah. Well, I wonder where you're from. Yeah, it's always fun. I'm always interested in the different times. Like Leland sent me a text today. He's working on the thumbnails for the video to have me check out the new one, which I think is awesome. So if you guys thank Leland because he did a great job, I think, on that. But and I was coming back from lunch and I was like, man, it's like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning his time. I was like, what is he doing up already? So yeah, it's always interesting to see what time people are up doing stuff. So the ball bearings, I don't actually use ball bearings. What I use, I have two that I've tried out, and both of them have seemed to be okay. I went to the bead store, at the Michaels, and I got beads. I got one that's here we go. It's a lava bead. You can see that's me writing things on my hand because I forget them at work. So that's a lava bead. Works well. Well, this is a glass bead. It's a little smaller, so I use those. That's actually what I put inside of my pots. In my when I transfer over my paints, I put it into there to be able to help shake them a little bit so that I can keep them nice and mixed when I'm working on them. When I'm working with them. And there's a video about that. You're getting ready for work. Oh, okay, Leland. Yeah. It's funny because I'm sitting there going, yeah, I'm just getting, because you sent me the text and I'm like, yeah, I'm just driving home I had just gone to lunch. I was actually watching Rob's video as he was posting it as he was driving today, which I thought was always pushing the envelope to try something new there. So he was live. If you guys didn't catch that, he put up a quick video about the patron winners, and it was he was doing it live while he was driving the car. He was casting from his phone. So I think that's interesting. But man, I got the shakes this afternoon for some reason. My hand wants to keep shaking. But that's okay. We keep them stable. And that's, again, what I do. You can't see it, but I've got my wrists and everything. Everything's on the table. So that only when I'm painting, I just have to pivot like this. So it helps me control much better. So I'm not getting it. And even though this is my first coat and it's the first color that I'm putting down, I still always try to paint neatly just because I want to, because again, we looked at last couple weeks ago, when we were painting with the zenithal priming where you have to be neat. So I always am practicing and learning and trying to get better with my brush control and trying to paint, precisely if I can. I don't need to, so it's no big deal if I make a mistake. I'm not overly worried about it because again, the colors that are coming around, there's going to be a darker red, so the red will cover it up. But again, I want to try to paint, and see I messed up a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. So I have questions and some bit of where things are going to go. So again, and you might see, because again, right now I'm going inside of this model here with the blue. But we'll see how it looks. If I don't like how it looks, I'm going to come back over it later on. I'll do it in black. but I think I like it in blue right now. Yes, carpool karaoke with Rob. Yeah, that's what that was. And I actually was in line. I went to Chipotle for lunch, and I was in line, and I saw the end of it, and I just kind of caught the end of it before I had to get my food, and I saw that a bunch of things in capital. It said, "Don't get Mike in the doghouse with his wife," and I was like, "Oh God, what did he say?" So I actually had to sit there all during lunch and watch it, but it was just talking about our large gaming session that we're going to have, and I've already cleared all that. For whenever when he gets back from Gen Con. In fact, we're kind of getting the system down where I'm going to go by his house. He's going to send me text to let me know when packages show up so I can pick them up, have the rules, get the rules, read the rules, make sure I know how to do it, and if there's any miniatures that need to get done, get the miniatures done so that whenever he gets home, we hit the ground running so you guys can see as soon as we get it, the new hot stuff coming out of Gen Con this year, and you can kind of see how it's played and what we're doing with it. So that should be great. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Valorian. Yes, it's gonna. These are gonna be interesting for Rising Sun as well because I think that, and the good thing is, I think the more that you see a lot of the more Asian-themed samurai type games, the more pictures are gonna come up online, which is great because then we can kind of see what everyone else is doing. So, which I always do, you know. There's a series of books. I use them for my bolt action. They're called the Osprey series, and they've got great pictures. I don't know if they make any for the samurais, so I think I like that. So if so, I'm going to go find that. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with the back with this cloth coming down on the back of his head. I'm going to hold off at the present moment. This isn't a mixed color, so it's no big deal. If I wanted, I can always come back to it later on. So I'm not overly concerned about that, but I do want to I think I want to hit inside of here. And if you hear loud screaming going on at my house, today was the girls' first day of school back. They went into kindergarten and third grade, so there's lots of excitement going on. So that's what that they told me all about it when I got home today, and that's what's going on at home. So if it's annoying, let me know, and I can always kind of tweak the volume or politely ask them to calm down a bit, but they are very excited today. It's always a fun day. My wife's more excited than they are when they went back to school, though. Where do I get the Citadel paints? The Citadel paints, I go to, I have two local hobby places nearby that sell them. One of them is just a hobby town. Actually, before Rob and I, before I was working with the channel and Rob and I were just, talking casually at the gym, I kept complaining about having to drive about an hour and a half to Orlando every time I wanted to buy a new pot. And he turned me on to just a local hobby shop that had them. So I get them there, but I also have a Games Workshop store that is near where I work, so I go there. If you don't, again, Games Workshop paints are sometimes harder to find. You can go to their website, to Games Workshop website, and there they sometimes have a good listing, like a location finder, that will tell you where you can buy Citadel paints. If all else fails and you can't buy them locally, Miniature Market now sells Games Workshop paints. Oops, touched that a little bit. They now sell Games Workshop paints, the Citadel paint line, so you can always order them on Miniature Market and have them and you'll get them online. So that is where I get. But like I said, I get. But when I buy them, if you're new to the normal Citadel paints, they come in pots that look like this. This is how you buy them. I have a video up. Sorry, brush was in my mouth. I have a video up that I showed how I take them from there and then put them into here because I like the dropper bottle better because it gives me more control, specifically when I'm mixing colors. It is great for when I mix the colors. Yeah, the Games Workshop, but Miniature Market also has them online. But buying paints, again, I like to buy my paints when I can because I like to see the colors. Because I don't, some of the guys who've been painting, like probably Rob, he probably has most of the Citadel paint line memorized what it looks like. But I always can't remember, so I always have to go look at it, especially with the washes. One time I bought the wrong green wash. I was so mad. I just fixed it, but I bought the... They make like... I think Citadel has 3 types of green washes. They've got a... I don't even remember. Oh, yeah, there it is right there. What is it? Oh, I took the label off. I don't know what that one was. But it was the green... was more like the ogre green one instead of the... What I meant to pick up was the Athonian camo shade. I picked up the wrong one time. But it's okay. I just added some brown to it and made it work. Yeah, I know that. I know that, boss. I do know that. But again, I have to, again, like I said, some who've been painting since Citadel came out with paints have those paint lines memorized. Those of you that don't, you still have to kind of see them every once in a while. So what I would recommend is go to your local Games Workshop store, make a list of the paints that you like, then go home and buy them on Miniature Market because they're going to be cheaper there. And again, that's a much better way to do it. That way you get to see what you want, but then you get to actually then go buy them on Miniature Market. So, there we go. Thanks, Rob, for showing up tonight. I love how it's just always, a mystery as to whether or not I'm being spied on tonight. But I'm glad to see Rob here. It's good. I hope everything is going well. I'm glad to see that you made it home in one piece after you were live streaming tonight. See, I touched, again, like I said, I try to be good, but like I said, I touched there on that rim there, which is okay. Once I get to my red, I'll cover that right up, but right now I kind of got a little bit of blue there, so that's no big deal. Like I said, we will take care of that. And this guy, see, when you build these guys, you pick up, let me wash here, you pick up different armor sets because you've got multiple different chests that you can use. I got my guys in the middle of my sprues here, but so when you have your sprues of this, you know, you've got not this set. That's not the one I want. It's this one right here. So yeah, so you've got multiple different types of armor. So you've got the flat plate armor. You've got the rug, you know, so you've got all these different armor sets that you can pick up. So I have to remember when I pick up another mini, just because it's a spearman, that does not necessarily mean that he's got the same armor. So I got to so I'm looking at where I want to cut that ridge on his armor, because that other guy painted was just a little bit different than this guy. So, and they got little variations in the models. So, which I think is nice. I try to paint them a little bit unique, because my goal when I paint armies has always been, I want them to look like they're part of the same army, but I want them to be a bit unique. I like having, because if you think about armies and how armies are actual armies, every soldier doesn't look 100% identical. He's got a little bit more of this showing, a little bit less of that showing. Once we get into, once you get into combat and stuff like that, everything's not always going to be perfect and neat. So I try to give my guys just a touch of that variation so they can kind of show that they're each unique, but yet they're all, when you look at them, you can say, yep, that's that army. So like here, I have no idea right now because I really got to zoom in on that. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I got in the way there, but so I had to get in there on that. But I can't really see where some things begin and end. My things are small here. So I just kind of paint all of it. And then I'll come in clean with the red. Leland, the spruce are small, but no, they're actually, putting one of these together is actually easier than a Games Workshop model, by far. Let me touch his up under his arm. Let me make sure I get him how I like him. Yeah, he's good. Let me clean this off here, and I'll show you. It's not too, and in fact, it's even easier than some bolt action. Really, if you're going to make a guy, all you do is you get yourself. There's some parts of it that are tricky, so I'm not gonna gloss over everything. Like they're not numbered. They do give you a little guide to kind of tell you where to put things on or where not to put things on. But all you got to do is you pick 2 legs that are beside each other, a left and a right, and you got a couple of them there that you can pick from. So you pick 2 legs. They have this nice little slot in the back, so they kind of fit well together. So you put your 2 legs together. You pick your chest. It's either going to be this one that's a whole one or this one here that's 2 halves. You put those on. So then you got your torso and your chest. I mean, your chest and your legs. Then you're going to pick what type of, even if I'm doing a spearman, or these are my bowmen. So I pick one arm that's holding out a bow. And then I pick one that's pulling back. Here we go. One that's pulling back an arrow. And then you've got tons and tons of choices for heads. And you just pick whichever head that you like. And that's it. You also put a katana on their hip, which mine broke off there a minute ago. You saw, which is no big deal. The other thing that you do, which are not on any of my models yet, is all of the models also have on the back of them, they have this flag. Now, when we talk about, when you deal with spruce models, there are many times that I will leave things off, because if this flag right now were attached to the back of him, like when he's all said and done, he's going to look like this with this flag on the back of him here. That would be a nightmare to paint in there with this flag getting in my way every time. So I just leave that off. It's not part of the continuous back. You know, it's not like it's skin or something where I'm going to have to worry about making the colors float completely evenly. So it's completely optional there. So what I'll do is I'll paint this whole model up, paint my flags for my different clans, and then I'll glue the flag on when he's all done. So that's not super hard to put together. Yeah, the flags do. Yep, the flags are for the variation there. Yep, so I've got the flags. And again, because I'm still trying to figure out what some of these guys would look like in the field and stuff, some of that stuff I haven't put on yet because I want to... knock my archer over. I want to see... you know, some more historical stuff. I found today a nice picture someone had wrote up, and they did about clan markings, the different symbols that the different clans had during the time period that this is set during. So those were cool. Now, what's going to ultimately determine what clan I use is which emblem I can freehand the best. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of those are extremely intricate, and my painting is okay. My freehanding is not anywhere near okay. So I'm not going to even pretend that I can freehand very well. So again, I'm going to pick ones that are like circles and lines and something that I could get the feel for it. But again, I am not an awesome freehand artist. So my clan emblems will be historically accurate, but they're going to be the easy ones. So luckily the guy on the post said, don't worry, during this time in feudal Japan, all of the different clans fought each other. So as long as you get, you find one, you should be, at one time or another, they met each other on the battlefield and they fought. So that'll work. So I'm just gonna. So my plan is to paint the flags, the color of the color that goes with the army, and then paint the emblem on it. So that's that. Yeah, no problem, Leland. Like I said, any questions you guys have? Sometimes if you hear me stop talking sometimes, which I like to talk a lot, so I'll always try to fill the dead space. But if you sometimes when I'm painting something small, I actually hold my breath because I'm trying to paint something small and not make it touch. And like then, I'll actually kind of hold my breath a little bit so that I can even then I don't want anything to move. So I mean, it's probably a bit extreme, but again, it helps. Every little bit for me helps. So, but these are nice models, and it's nice every once in a while to get a break from the fantasy all the time. We do a lot of fantasy, which again, we all love the theme of fantasy, so I got no issues painting them. But every once in a while, it's cool to break out some color schemes that you don't, everything's not gold and stuff like that, and so I'm looking forward to these guys. I'm looking forward to painting the battle stations minis. I've got those. I picked those up yesterday as well, so I'm going to be doing those. Some of those, I think. Those will be fun. Those are sci-fi, and they got some pretty cool models, and it's fun. It's always fun to have a variation in your models. Got one rogue here on my brush. It wants to keep bothering me. Twist that around. So that's cool. So yeah, so I like these guys. These guys are going to be neat. I think I saw Rob had some other models too, so he's got some more sets. These I think this is going to be a really fun game. And what I'm going to try to do, and I have no promises yet, so don't hold me to this, but I'm going to try to talk Janice into playing 2 games of this back to back, because I think from what I've read, the cool part about this is I don't think it's a great one-off mission, because you get honor and dishonor based upon what you did in the battles before and stuff. So I think this is it's a really light rule set, but works really, really well as a campaign. Again, I'm probably not going to be able to talk her into a 12 mission campaign. But what I'd like to do is do the first mission, which is a basic little intro mission. You have a little small army. You don't get to choose anything really. You just basically you take the intro mission to this is with 3 spearmen, 2 bowmen, and your samurai. And then the next mission is 2 15-point armies. So what I'd love to do is have enough variety of stuff done so that we can both pick some nice, play the intro scenario, tear down, quickly set up the next scenario, and continue on the battle and the mission with the same guys, and let those effects from the previous game linger into the next one. I think we should. I don't think it looks like it's a super long game, so I think we should be able to do that. And I think that would be pretty interesting to see, because you'll hear Janice and I say this a lot. I mean, Rob does, and Rob, we all say this. Specifically, we don't get the feel sometimes of a game after the intro mission. You've got, there's the intro mission, and you're like, that didn't give me the real feel for it. Sometimes you get you can get a good review of something when you play it once or twice. But again, we don't always have that luxury to play it multiple times. But I think when we do, I think it's interesting to do that, to say, what does that next level depth of this game look like? What does it look like when you've got multiple missions that you went on, and you saw kind of like what a little mini campaign, this is getting pretty horrible right there, what that's going to look like. So I think we should, again, I think we'll have time. Rob's got a great scenery piece for us to play on, so I've already started to think how we're going to incorporate that with some of the mission objectives, what they've got in the book, so we kind of keep the book mission, and then we use the scenery table, scenery to set on the table, which I think will be really great. So that is my plan. I think, again, I know this is going to happen one of the days while Rob is gone at Gen Con. So again, and the nice thing is the rules aren't really bad. So it's a pretty straightforward game, pretty straightforward rule set. So I think that because of that, we should be able to play pretty smoothly, and then try to go at it maybe twice to see how that honor and dishonor system carries throughout from one mission or one campaign setting to the next. And I think that will make it fun to see. Also, it'll give us an opportunity to, because since we're slightly competitive, it'll give us the opportunity there for one of us to get redemption potentially, or for the other one to completely sweep the other one, which is what I'm hoping for. No, man, the base game, let me tell you something. The base game for this is one of the best buys you can do. I went on Miniature Market's website and I saw this, and I thought for sure it was a misprint. And I've checked everywhere, and they've got it right. And again, the best price you're going to find it is on Miniature Market. But I think it's $40 for the base set, and it's got 36 miniatures, 35, 36 miniatures in the game. I'm looking I've got my box right here. I'm flipping it upside down to look at it. It is, it doesn't tell me right there. I think it's 36. It's 36 or 38. Somewhere in that ballpark. Miniatures in the game. And all the dice, and all the cards, and all the rules. So yeah, it comes with 5 samurais, 20 Shogun warriors with spears, 20 the spearmen, and 10 with bows or muskets. So that 35. So 35 miniatures. And what I'm going to do, and it comes with all the bases, and it comes with, my games are starting to mix here. I've got Another game to paint sitting right beside it. So it comes with, you get all of your normal bases. I'm letting this dry. I got all my blue done on these two. I'm going to let these dry before I put that wash on for a second. You get all your bases, and then you get your nested bases for all your spearmen, and you get cards for individuals, and you have cards for when they're a group of 3. So you get all of that, and you get cards for future models that are coming out too. So you really, if you want to get a detailed miniature game to just purely paint, I don't think you can go wrong with this set. And this is a great set for anyone who wants to get into the miniature hobby, because you're going to have everything that all of your war games, miniature games have. You got spruce. You're going to learn to put stuff together. You're going to learn to paint. Now, the only thing I would caution, and even cautions it in the book, don't build all of your guys right off the bat. And the reason is, I'm just quick, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to the red next. I'm not going to put the wash on there. And then once I get into the red, I'll finish my old thought, and then I'll come back to why I'm going to the red next. So you get everything you need in there to play. And what they tell you is, what you don't want to do is you do not want to build all your troops yet, because once you learn how the game plays, you're going to want to make certain units, because like most miniature games, this guy, well, we can't see him. This guy is a spearman now. Oops, bumping things. Sorry about that. This guy is a spearman, and he's always going to be a spearman. So I can't change him from a spearman now that he's built. This is an archer. If I want more musket guys, I can't change it. I'm going to have to pull them apart to change it. So they say build a couple armies, build maybe half of your troops so that you've got enough to play with, and then see what kind of troops you want to fill out the rest of your army, and do it that way, as opposed to building the whole set out, just so you get familiar with the game first. And I think that's a good idea. And again, I'm going to build out most of it because I want to have enough for Janice and I to pick from when we go to build our armies. But I cannot really, when I saw the price, and I was actually looking at that today, because I could not believe it, that the price point to get into this game is so reasonable. I was really excited because again, I don't like miniature games where your price point to entry is $100. I think $100 price point to entry on a miniature game is tough, because man, if you don't like it, you're going to be irritated. You spent $100 on a game that you don't like. So I think that this price point is great. So I don't know if you got conveyed or not, but I like this. I like where they went with this game. Again, you can see I'm going with the red, and this is the Mephiston red, and I have, again, watered it down. I'm going to go with the light. I want to keep it light. I don't want it to get, so I'll probably come back with a second coat on this because I want to keep them light. But again, a lot of you can see too, I painted the gray. The gray, if this were black, it would show through, and I'd have a nightmare with this red, keeping it so light. And if it were white, I would have had a hard time with the blue. So again, my preference, and again, every one of you will find different preferences as you paint more and more. I love the battleship kind of gray here, very neutral gray, which means that the good means is that no matter really what I paint, I don't have to work too hard to get the color saturation I want. The bad thing is that means all of the shading and all of the highlighting it's up to me. The primer is not going to give me a hand at all. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't mind. I like to have control of what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. So I'm okay with that. It is, Nathaniel. Again, now the only bad news is that Miniature Market is currently sold out, but I have a feeling that they will be getting some back very, very soon, because this is gaining a lot of popularity right now, and I'm sure they are actively attempting to get those stocks refilled as we speak. So I don't know that for sure. I am just guessing. But again, all right. So now I've just illustrated the point. So I said a minute ago, I'm not going to shade my blue first. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to paint the other red. One of the things I like to do with my miniatures, if I base coat everything first, the good part about that is I just touch that that blue in there. Like, I didn't like that. You can see that. I hope you guys see everything here. I touched that blue, which is a little bit too far with the red. So because of the fact that I haven't shaded it yet, I can go back with the base coat blue, and I can just go in there and I can touch it up. If I would have shaded it already, then you come back to the point where now what color do I use? I mean, do I put the base coat back on and then reshade it again? Or do I just go with the base coat? And again, well, most of the minis that I do now, I'm by no means a professional, so I can get away with, even if I would have shaded it, I could just go back there and put the base coat on again. I try to, again, get to the point where I say, you know, I want to try to get everything done, but it's going to take longer when I do it this way. I got a little bit of time. Rob doesn't catch me saying that, because I can, because if I do it this way, what I'm going to have to do is I can only do one. I can only do one wash at a time, because if you do multiple washes, I've done it before trying to hurry. If I do a blue wash and a red wash on top of each other, what ends up happening is purple goes everywhere because the two washes touch each other because they're not completely dried. So that's the downside by doing it this way. But it gives me more control. And again, I have a belief that if you do a really good base coat, that that what comes afterwards is going to be good. Because if your base coat is not done great, it's hard to come back from that. What am I? See, I don't understand these guys' sleeves. Yeah. Yep. That's the again. You have no time. Here we go. Yes, so Rob has found out that he is still here. But yeah, so it is manufactured in the UK, but again, I think miniature market's going to be getting more in. But I think, you know, I'm really happy with what they did here. Bolt action was one I really wanted to get into, but the price point is high on that. I mean, you got to. It's a tough game to get into. I'm going to go red on this guy because I think this is armor, but it's weird because it looks like a sleeve, but it also looks like armor. So this is one of those that I'm going to paint it all red, and then I'm going to sit back and then I'm going to look at it and I'm going to decide, did I like it like that, or do I need to come back and do something else? And again, like I didn't have a huge plan for these yet. So this is kind of off, you know, real in how it goes. Sometimes I look at my model and I'm like, you know, I don't like the color scheme, and if I don't like it, if it's too much red, if it's too, then I'll come in and I'll change it. And nothing is set. I mean, this is just acrylic paint. There is nothing about this, and especially if because my debate is, do I want to segment this up with some black? You know, maybe make some black in here or something like that. I don't think so. I think I like it like this, but I'm going to take a look. And again, I'll point this out every time I'm painting. You can see this, where again, I hope you can see it, that the paint. Oh, let me clear that. Let me focus that a bit when I bring this really close. But shoot. The paint. I talk about this all the time, and I just want to, in case you're new, it's your first time here. You see, you can clearly see when I did this model originally, this was all red, and now you can start to see the gray parts coming back out, and that's because, remember, I always tell you, especially now that I'm using diluted paints, whenever your paint dries, it shrinks. Paint shrinks when it dries. So that's just the nature of paint. That's how paint works. So you always have to come back, and you're gonna and hit that again, because it's gonna suck itself. It's gonna pull itself up, and it's gonna dry. And you can see this stuff dries again. It's diluted. It dries really fast. So I can even come back in here and this which I painted first, it's already dry again. So I can come back in there, give that second coat that I like, and then just get that nice rich red for these guys. And I think I like this. I'm pretty happy with this. We'll have to see. These guys look pretty cool. That's good. Rob said that they're going to have the restock next week, so that is great. Yeah, yeah, Nathaniel. Either blue arm, bare arm or blue shirt. Okay, and here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this guy with the red. I don't think it's bare arm. And like what's confusing me there is you can see these ridges along here. You know, it looks like armor right there. And again, I can clearly see on his hand where he's got a pad there. So it's clearly like an open-fingered type glove. So I can see that, but what I can't see is the rest. So what I will probably do is we'll take this guy, we'll make it red. We'll see what we think about it. And then what we'll do is we'll take the other one and we'll take it more on the blue side. But the other thing I'm thinking of, Nathaniel, is what you're thinking is that maybe the underside of it's blue, because there it's clearly fabric. And then we've got like an armor plate on the top side. So maybe I've got to go blue underneath there. And then the red on the top. But that's the problem when, again, I really love pictures and I don't have any pictures, so I have to kind of guess. But I want to go there, and then I also want to go. Just we talk about Brexit. Just the thought of Brexit has helped me on my brushes because the pound has dropped to the dollar. So my brushes get cheaper when I get them to come in, so I'm happy about that, which I was tracking. They just cleared customs yesterday, so I always get excited when I have new brushes coming. I've been painting a lot more than I normally paint, and I wasn't taking the best care of my brushes now. I will now, because I've been painting a lot more, so I need to take better care of my brushes, but I want to, because again, these brushes, I think, can't remember, I think it was Sean, I've always wondered. He got some of these Rosemary and Company brushes, and he said that he thinks they are comparable to the Winsor & Newton Series 7, which I've always wondered because I don't want to spend $25 on a Winsor & Newton brush when these brushes are just the same. But like I said, I'm not recommending anybody do that yet because until you know what you like, because again, like Rob and I have very different tastes on brushes. I like the thin brushes like this to paint with. He does not, and he paints fantastic. So again, the brushes are what you like, and it's personal to how you like to paint. It has not, so don't get too hung up if you get online and you hear people say, "Oh, the only thing you can ever paint with is a Raphael 8484 or a Winsor & Newton Series 7." Well, that's absolutely not true. I know personally, I know painters who paint exceptionally well, who paint 10, 20, 30 times better than me with a synthetic brush from Hobby Lobby. It's just what they do. It's how they like to paint, and it's what you're comfortable with. So, like again, I like these Sable brushes. They feel nice. They work well for me. They're not super expensive, like $4 a piece. So, I use them. But if you don't like them, just use what you like. So there we go. So that's that guy kind of base coated. He's kind of got the red and the blue. MGK, I don't have a regular painting segment right now. Rob and I kind of go back and forth, depending upon what's on the docket to be painted. You will see, I'm pretty confident that I can say you will see painting every week between either Rob or myself. So we paint more of what's going on. What I like to do, whenever we can, touched his face. Whenever we can, I try to do this where I like to paint this week, paint a little bit more next week, and then lead up to the live playthrough on the following weekend. So you kind of get to see the progression and as to how they go and stuff like that. And I like to have the painting videos out early because, like I said, Miniature Market just got a hold of these. And what I would love is so that if you get a hold of these and you're like, oh, how did he, what was he doing with those guys? I know they had that debate on the sleeve. You can come, you can pull the video up, and you can see exactly what we did. So I want these painting videos to be out at or before you guys get a hold of them so that you use these as a reference. And again, Rob does the same thing. So we're trying to get, so again, we're always going to have painting, but it might, sometimes you're stuck with me. Sometimes you're lucky and you get Rob when he paints. So, and again, we paint in different styles, which I think is good too. You get a wide variety of styles he can paint much faster than I can, and his stuff, even when it's in a rough form, I always feel like his stuff always looks better than mine. Even when it's just, when he's just starting out. I mean, even when it's not even finished yet. I'm always trying to get better at my painting. So I think my finished stuff looks okay, but sometimes it's rough getting there. I use 5. Yep. Again. Yep. Dan. If you can, people, different people like different brush style. It all has to do with, different brushes. The big thing with different brushes is has to do with how the paint leaves the brush onto the model. Like I'm painting with stuff that is super thin. I mean, I am barely touching this model with this brush right now. And I don't know, if you can even see how the bristles, they barely are even being pushed back much, because they're just grazing the model. And again, that's how I, again, when I do highlights and stuff, it's all done in these very thin layers and stuff like that. So we'll come back with that belt. I'm just going to get it all red now. So again, everything's in thin layers when I paint like that. So these work well for me. Some people like and have just painted differently. So it's very much up to you. All right, wood slats, shirt not short. Yes. Wood slats. That's going to make life entertaining. So you're thinking blue with the wood slat. I'm on board with that. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at that. I'm washing out my brush now. Again, I have to make sure that I keep doing that. You do never want that paint to go up into that furrow of that brush, because it is a beast to get it out. Advantages of a wet palette that I'm not using right now would be that my color, my blue is still good because I diluted it and everything like that. My blue stayed nice and wet, so I just come right back to it. So here's what we're going to do with this guy. And then again, I'll fix that guy for, We'll go blue here, and then I'll come back and I'll do the wood on the tops of the sleeves there. So we will give Nathaniel's. I like it. I like what he's thinking there. I like where he was going with that. So we're gonna give that a shot. Oops, make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Ooh, it's kind of a lot. We'll see what we think. And again, I one of the things that Warlord Games is known for is their historical accuracy on their models. Like again, I'm not sure on the samurais yet. I'm going basically off of bolt action, but I use the Osprey series, which is a historical series about World War II with pictures, really detailed colored pictures. Oops, spearmen are already fighting. And I use that when I paint my bolt action. And man, these models are historically accurate. I mean, you can, down to where the emblems are at, down to the shovels. I mean, they are just superb with the detail on the model. So I imagine that whatever this is supposed to be, we will be able to find this on the internet to find out, so we can get a good idea. But that is kind of cool. Again, I love the detail and the time that Warlord Games puts into their minis. So again, that's why I said it's a great entry point into minis. Or if you just want to, if you painted the moons of what's that game called? Moonga Invaders. If you painted that, and you're like, yeah, I liked it, good, I've got paint on models, and now I want to start painting something with a little bit more detail, go pick this box set up from Miniature Market. You will not be upset. They're small, which again is good. Work on brush control. Work on painting small areas, because when you do this, when you can do this well, it's going to help out for when you're painting the GW models where, they're bigger, but they've got so many little belt loops and things and like that you need to. That brush keeps getting caught on his spear. Oh, I did not. Nathaniel, I did not know that Osprey publishes the bolt action books. I did not know that. I did not know that at all. I just knew the historical series. I would go and I would check them out. I can buy the ebooks and stuff like that, or the hardback books, depending on which one I've got of them. And but I did not know that they were associated with with Warlord Games with the bolt action. That's cool. So I'm telling you, yeah, those books are awfully accurate. So we got to get inside there. So here's the tricky part. Now, when it was all red, it was all fun and games because these two colors are the same. Now I got to get in here with this brush into his little arm there. Okay, got to zoom in here for a minute here, gents. So ladies and gentlemen, so I'm sorry if I put my light in front of my model there, but I want to get this guy's arm, and I don't want to have to go back over it again. And I am touching all kinds of stuff with the tip of this brush that I'm not supposed to be, that I don't want to touch. There we go. One rogue hair that is not behaving itself. But yeah, those are great. Those are great books. If you ever have a chance to check them out, I would highly recommend them. They're really good. And again, I love having the picture there. That helps me out a lot because I can look at the picture and then I can just kind of replicate what I see sometimes. You know, sometimes I can't. I'm gonna go with that blue right now. But that's a strap. We'll come back and get that black. All right. So. All right. There we go. All right, so there we go. So there we've got the blue. So now we got the blue with the red armor, which is cool. I like it. So there we've got that variation, and we got that. So we're going to have to, oops, you can't see that. That and that. So that's what I got for my spearman right now. So we'll come back and we'll do something. Yeah, MGK 2020. I've got my Rune Wars minis that I have got to paint as well. I've not painted that yet. I haven't ever played that. I know Rob played it. I saw him and Janice played it. But I've never actually played it, so I don't know. We have so many mini games, and I don't know. Yes, yeah. Thursdays. Rob is correct. Thursdays at 6. Thursdays at 6. Is a good time for us to, one of us should be on painting. Oh, Thursday at 6, but today's Wednesday. Yes. Yes. I'm losing my mind a bit there. Sorry about that. Yeah, Thursdays at 6. If he wants to make that a regular thing, that's fine. I got no issues with that. I pushed this one's done on Wednesday for two reasons. One, I know Rob's doing something tomorrow, and two, the next project that I'm working on that I talked about on Monday with the paper buildings and scenery that I'm putting together. I'm starting that on Thursday because I want that to go up this week. So I needed to do this on Wednesday because I just got done. I just got my supplies in yesterday, so I just made the copies today. So get my painting done now, and then I can start working on the buildings so that I have an idea so that when I do the video, they make sense and everything like that. So, all right. Because I don't know where I'm going with this yet, I'm going to hold off on that, and I'm going to bring over here. I'm going to go right on into my brown. Can I do that? Yeah. Wait up. Oh, I forgot to get his socks. The red. Oh, don't paint it, sucks. Yeah, I was being nice. Yeah, I know that. I don't think it went well. And then that's what I was going to say. I worry. That's on camera too. I was fiddling with my pot a minute ago. I took this off earlier because I didn't have a lot left in there. Well, that's unfortunate. Luckily, I have paper towels. Yes, I have battle stations. I thought you said on your thing that you were doing live, that you were going live tomorrow. Maybe you're just making a video or something. Hold on, let me clean myself now. All right, I got plenty of red now, so we're going to be painting a lot of red things. All right, how am I going to do this? Let's try to salvage this situation. I can tell you that it's the first time that's ever happened that I've actually had the top come up. But I was working on that one earlier because I didn't think I had much left in it, so I diluted it a little bit more to get more out, so I had enough for tonight. So there we go. That's okay. I've got another pot of that anyway. That's a very old pot. Yes. I do have battle stations, and I am doing that tomorrow as well. I've got that ready to go. I was either going to do that live or I was going to do that recorded, but let me make that decision. Let me see let me see how hard those buildings are. And I will make that decision tonight. So I'll throw something up there. So either you're definitely going to get to see battle stations, and it's either going to be done by I'm either going to do it live or I'll be taping it and then putting that up. So I haven't decided on that yet. So all right. Meant to get his little socks here. I need to get those red. Those are definitely a red. So Thursday, I want to keep the trend on Thursday painting, so we will keep that going. I just don't want to 100% commit to that yet until I talk to make sure I clear that. But I don't think we've got anything going on with the kids having their first week. Kind of they start with that half week, so everybody's kind of subdued at home most of the evenings, right? Well, they are today, and they will be probably tomorrow. So getting back in that routine, so I'll have plenty of time. Okay. Oh, okay. That's what you got. I see it. Yeah. Dan, they are on sprues. They come that way. I've assembled about 7 or 8 of them so far, and I'm painting the ones that I've assembled so far. I'm painting 3 of them that I've painted so far. They do come on spruce, but one of the things I did say, and when I was reading through the book, and as I was looking at some things, they recommend you don't build them all out at the beginning because they want you to get familiar with the system for a bit and want you to know how the system works, so that once you know how the system works, you can then come back and build the units for the army that you want. So like if you like riflemen more than bowmen, or you like bowmen more than riflemen, you're going to want to go ahead and play with both of them first before you commit and build them, because once you build them, it's kind of a pain to pull them off to kind of pull back and change bowmen into riflemen. There's going to be some cutting and breaking of plastic to get that to happen. So they recommend play a couple games. Play 1 game, play 2 games, get the feel for the game, and then come back. Because they've got leaders, they've got bannermen, they've got guys that you can build to kind of refill and reload things. So they've got all kinds of neat units. But I don't know when I would use those units, and I don't know why I would want those units. So I'm only going to build a couple of I'm going to build spearmen, riflemen, samurais, and archers. And then Janice and I are going to put those units through the test. And then we'll come back and we'll say, what do we want more of? And then I'll have them ready to go for the next time we play. Because I want to get a hold. Rob's got some mounted archers that look really cool. Mounted, and they've got some mounted units. And I saw in Miniature Market they've got a ton of extra units you can bring into the game and stuff like that. So I definitely want to see how the game plays, so I know what kind of style I like, what kind of units I want to build. So clearly a change of plan. Since I've got a lot of red now, I'm going to go ahead and finish up with these guys in their red, because I've got a little bit of red now up my palette. So, yes. Well, yeah. I think, Rob, you're just such a lovable guy. They love to correct, to blow you up when you make a mistake. With me, it's more sort of expected. I'm not the seasoned veteran yet. I'm still the new guy here who's trying to find my way through here. So, oh, I didn't know that was on camera. Yeah, my hands will look like my palette because again, I want my paint to be controlled, and so I'll test it on my thumb a lot of the times. Because I don't want it to be so fluid that when I touch the model, it goes everywhere. Again, when I paint, it's all about control and me putting the paint where it's supposed to be, not where it wants to flow. Not unless I'm doing a wash, which that's a whole different story. But like now, so again, I'll touch it to my finger, knock it off a little bit there, and just to make sure that it flows. It's the consistency that I like it. But it's acrylic paint and it washes off, so I'm not overly worried about it. The problem is when I go back to work the next day and I forgot, and I didn't scrub it off in the shower. People look at me weird. But If you know me, a lot of people look at me weird. All right, so that's I think we're gonna go with Nathaniel's idea there that we're gonna keep. We're gonna go blue with the rest of the sleeves, and then I like that. I'm definitely into that, and we're gonna put the wood slats on the shoulders. I mean, with those slats. So we're gonna make them wood. So definitely down with that idea. So I think that's what we're gonna do. It's great. That's why it's great painting with you guys, because again, if I have I can't come up with an idea, or I'm confused, just struggling with something, you guys can chime in there with a great idea, and then that saves me a lot of time, and again, it makes my models look better. Oh, my 90, my 90-day review is coming up, and I know it's I think, in fact, sometimes when I mess up, it's your 87-day reviews come up, or your 35th day review come up. So you're always on the bubble. So you never take any day for granted when you're working on the Robert Oren channel. Every day's a gift, because you never know when your review's going to come up, and that'll be your last. So, but yes, he runs a tight ship. I think the kids get somewhat of a leg up sometimes just because they're the kids, so I'm always in competition there. So, but I'm trying. We had 3 references. Yes, yeah, you need, yep, and references. I can tell you the waiting period is awfully long, and so it's quite the waiting period to get in. Rob and I knew each other, like I said, we would talk to each other for about a year before we ever did anything, before I came over to the house, and we would see each other in the gym in the morning, so, which was good, because for a while there, it really made me go to the gym a lot, but then I decided, I was like, it's not worth it. I'm not getting up at 5:30 every day. So I took some. I do a lot of the cycling. I like to ride bikes, so I do a lot of the cycling classes. So I started to find some more that were in the afternoon, so I didn't have to get up at 5 o'clock to be there at 5 o'clock. So I didn't have to get up at 4:30 every morning. But I still do at least one regularly, and then I try to do another one when I get there. But I don't always get there. So. And then it was early. I was like, right. I always remember it. There was one time that I missed a week or two, and it was before Rob and I were working each other. But he even mentioned it on one of his channels. I normally see Mike in the morning. I haven't seen him in a while, and that's what I told my wife. See, if I don't go to the gym in the morning, I get called out. This is before I was working with him. Now, you gotta keep things in order. He is a savage. He's even in the office. Yep. Again. Yes, Justin has his own channel. Yes, he does. Justin is when I told my wife when I grow up I want to be like Justin, even though Justin is a little bit younger than me. But man, he is nuts with the stuff that he does. And I guess I can cross promote channels since it's in the family. But if you have never seen what he does sometimes on his channel with what he eats, it is incredible. I can't even. The last time I can remember the first time he ate that fish, he told me, and him and Janice were talking to me. Rob was gone, and I was there picking something up to work on, and him and Janice were telling me about it, and it took me a good 2 or 3 days before I could even repeat it because it made me sick every time I thought about it. But man, he is one brave guy with his stomach is made of absolute steel. He is so, but yep, he is quite the trooper on YouTube. Oh wow, great! Yeah, I have actually, Justin and I see each other when I come over. Though everyone in the house sees me a lot, but Justin and I I've never played with Justin yet, so I'm looking forward to play. We were going to play one time, but something happened and we couldn't. So I'm looking forward to playing with Justin. I told that to Janice one time, and she says, "Why? Is losing to her not enough?" So I had no good comeback. So, yes, see it. Yep, I've never played Champions of Midgard either, and I really loved. I can't wait to play that. I've played Oh, what's the Lords of Waterdeep? I play that a lot, but everybody said Champions of Midgard really is kind of a killer of Lords of Waterdeep, and I really loved Lords of Waterdeep. So, but Champions of Midgard, I think, is 3 players. So for the longest time, my wife and I didn't have any opportunity to play it because there's only the 2 of us. So that was one thing I'm looking forward to, is playing Champions of Midgard. Yep, I saw that the Midgard expansion has just come out, so I'm sure that is going to be exciting. We almost got a game of that in at Dice Tower Con, Janice and I, but we picked up Above and Below instead, which was a lot of fun. No, Near and Far. We played the next one. We played Near and Far. If you haven't played that and you like that type of game, that's a very story-driven game. I can't see this to save my life. If you like a very story-driven game, Near and Far it was a really great game. I think we're going to try to play that or at least that or Above and Below on the channel, because it's a really fun game, really interactive game. Kind of like it reminded me of playing like a choose your own adventure type game. Well, that was horrible there. I just got that right on top of his arm. But luckily, my paints are thin and I can push it right off with my finger. I'll touch that back up in a minute. I see my explosion of red touched my blue, though. It's no good. On the side there. So, fix that blue. Just want, sometimes I fix errors as I go. So I want to just keep them tight. Much better than Waterdeep. That's great. I'm really excited about that. Yes, Sparhawk. You and I have known each other for 17 years now? 16, 17 years. So, yes. I don't know how I'm going to defend this. What I'm going to say is that I knew what to tell you when you were getting into gaming. I just hadn't played it yet. But I knew it was good because I watched on the Rob Orange channel, Janice and the Jarl and Rob play it, but I have not played it yet. But I wasn't wrong, right? Like, if you look at it, you love the game, so I wasn't wrong. I just hadn't quite played it yet. And you have way too much knowledge of me for so long that I got you into the channel, but I wanted you to join the channel, but you do know a lot of things about me from a very long... We've known each other a very long time. So, yes, that is correct. I did recommend it to you to get that game when we were looking at games to get. But again, I wasn't wrong because you and I liked playing Lords of Waterdeep. Oh, you didn't play Lords of Waterdeep with us. We played that at Dragon Con. But yes, speaking of which, I haven't said that yet, but it's close enough now that I can go ahead and say that if any of you go to Dragon Con, I will be there. I have gone to Dragon Con. Last year I went to Gen Con for the first year, but that was the first year in 9 years I had not gone to Dragon Con, and I go back again this year. So I will be at Dragon Con. So any of you who happen to go there, it's in Atlanta. So I will be putting back footage from Dragon Con this year. But I go there. I love to play the games. So I'll be playing games. And again, there's tons of stuff to do there. So let me know if any of you guys are going to be there one time. And again, you definitely meet up, play something. I actually play role-playing games a lot. So I'll be checking out some of the new Pathfinder games they've got coming out. They've got a space one called Starfinder, which I signed up to play, so I'm looking forward to that. But Dragon Con is starting to get bigger with the gaming. I know 2 years ago when I was there, I remember Cool Mini or Not was even there, and they were demoing Blood Rage. So I thought, wow, Dragon Con is starting to get in on the gaming scene too, so I was happy about that. And again, they've moved the board gaming to a separate place now because it's gotten so big. So any of you there who are going to go to Dragon Con, let me know. No. Rob, you do not need to recruit any of those people. They know way too much about me, and clearly they were not one of my 3 references. So we'll go for about a couple more minutes here. I want to get on that. I got all my red used up, unfortunately. I got a lot more than I need. I'm just going to start painting things red tonight. I want to find my guy that I painted his sleeves blue, and I want to get that brown on there. I am going to go... Where's my color wheel? Right. I want a yellow a yellowish brown. Because remember, when I talked about color on my, we're at blue, and green is too those brown those. I don't want the bluish. I want it to stand out. I want it to contrast a bit. So again, if you look at browns, this would be a very blue brown. This oak brown, it's very blue, whereas opposed to this Mournfang brown, which is it's got a yellow spot on it, but it's a much yellower brown. And I'm going to do that because it's going to specifically contrast with his shoulder there. So it's more of a color on the opposite side of the color wheel. I'm going to be painting the spears too, so I'm going to get a little bit of brown in there. So I want to go, so I'm intentionally picking a color that is a contrasting color when I went with my brown to make them stand out a bit. So again, I'm going to go across them. I'm not going to go right on them because they're raised, and I can go right across the top there, and I can pick up that brown. So you see? I think you can, maybe. I hardly know you at all. Yes, it's okay. I'm not a bad person to know. I'm just saying, they're. But I've known Warhawk. Him and I actually, when I first started in color, when I started in textiles, we started the same plant on the exact same day, and he was big into gaming. We didn't play board games as much at the time. We played games on the computer a lot more then. That seems like such a long time ago. But so him and I knew each other in South Carolina, and then we still keep in touch. And I told him about this, and I told him, hey, and he's been just starting to paint miniatures and stuff. So I just texted him right before we went on. I said, hey, I'm going to go live today, so why don't you hop on? And if you got questions, people can. The community here is so good about, and these guys have been painting now for a lot of you have been painting for a while. So any new questions that you might have, you can ask. And the community is a great community for new painters. So again, I don't know how well this is. I hope this is coming out okay to see, but it's contrasting out really nice. Yeah, that's not going to work. Trying to get more light on it, you can see. But it does come out, and you can see the nice wooden panels, and I really like that. So thank you, Nathaniel, for that idea. I'm definitely going to do that to the other guy that I painted there. And I think that that's going to make that look, get those wooden slats and make that look really cool. And again, they stand out so nicely against the blue, the very blue background, the yellowish brown. Because if you would have done the bluish brown, what happens is you'll lose it. You'll completely lose it and it won't stand out. And I think you want to draw a focal point to it. So that's why I went with the more yellow brown, just because I know that's going to make my wooden panels here show up even more than the blue brown would do. So that's the kind of fun little color theory things that I've got for you. Now the other question I've got, I wonder if those are whole panels, and even get in the bottom and make them like, two separate actual panels of wood, or if they're just going to be like slats, So I don't really know what I want to do there. So I just painted my shoulder. So I think what I'll probably do there is I'll probably come back and even experiment a little bit more. Again, that's the nice part. You got 32 different miniatures. Again, on the battlefield, even if I didn't change it, and you had these 3 spearmen lined up together, but you can't see any of them. See, I told you, keep your water glass way away from your drinking, what you drink, because I have mine in 2 different shelves now because of so many times I've put my brush in my drinking water. And I've done the other. But you can see, these guys got completely different color schemes there to an extent with the arms and stuff, but even if you put them together, they look like the same army. But I'm going to put him back to blue. But what I'm saying there is, try stuff. Get creative. This is art. We are doing art. When you do art, you get creative. Again, when I'm going to be doing a segment with my kids, and we're going to be painting Panic Picnic. It's one of the two, and we paint ants. And you're going to see some very, very creative colors come out of that. Batch painting, Dan. Batch painting is a, what's the best way to, I mean, it's you have to look for the silver lining when you do batch painting. And what I do there is I look to see, again, I try to see how many I can, get a good system down. I try to do that. And then again, it's good for repetitive, again, with just doing stuff with the brush. But you're right. Sometimes batch painting can just not be a lot of fun, but we got to do it. We got armies, got to paint our armies. See, this is clearly, I can see the detail. That is clearly a plate. So I'm definitely going to make that one a plate. And I think I'm going to do that with the other ones, where you kind of have, it's kind of like he's got a piece of wood strapped to his arm. So I like that. I like where Nathaniel was going with that. And again, it really brings that contrast out. He's got that like a little form. So I'm going to do that, I think, on all of them. I like that. All right. All right, it's been about an hour and 15 minutes. You guys watched me spill red all over myself. I will be painting more of these. What I will probably do is I'll leave these guys. I'll probably get everybody. I'm going to get everybody caught up to this point right here. Well, I'll have everybody blue. I'll have everybody's browns painted. And I'll get all of that done. And I'll finish up with the brown. But I'll leave these guys, even though I'm going to probably pull out some more, get them painted because I've got a lot to paint. But I'm going to paint again next week, because we don't play this until not this weekend, but the following weekend. So I'll take these guys to completion. It's not going to be much. I mean, we're going to wash them, and then we're going to highlight them up. So the base coating is not always that fun to watch. The highlighting is a little bit more fun, but you get to see a little bit of the creative process, a little bit of why we do what I do, a little bit how I paint, which can be kind of fun. So I'm going to leave. I'll get these guys all caught up to the same area, and then what we'll do is that we'll come back. We'll get some more of these guys painted. What I'd love to do as well is do some of the basing work with these guys, because I was actually thinking about it on the way home from work today, some fun ways to incorporate the fact that you've got, how do you make the individual bases line up and match up with when you get the, why can't I find one right here, with when you then put them into the big circle with the spearmen, so that, you have a nice little continuous base, but yet when you pull them out, you have individual bases. So I've got some ideas on how I'm going to do that. I think that'll be very interesting as well. Cry Havoc. A couple questions I've got here. Endure the Stars. Endure the Stars is a fun paint. The tricky part with Endure the Stars that I had is I painted the heroes, and the art on them was very monochromatic, which is kind of cool. I thought it was fun painting in black and white and gray. That was kind of neat. I did like it. So, but the artwork on a lot of the minis, it's all black and white with like some light highlights of yellow and blue. So those are kind of fun sometimes. So that's okay. Cry Havoc. I have not painted Cry Havoc. Rob painted Cry Havoc, and I don't think he has a lot of good things to say about the painting of Cry Havoc, due to the fact that the minis aren't very detailed, which makes it very difficult to paint them detailed well, because they don't have a lot of spelled out details, so they sometimes can be trickier to paint because of that. Got the High Elves and the Skavens to batch paint. Yep, that's a lot of fun. That could take a long time, Wild Boy. If you're doing those, if those are Blood Bowl teams, man, that I so get sucked into the detail on the GW. Rob gets, talks to me a couple times about that. Because I get so wanting to get sucked into the detail on those guys, because they've got a lot of great detail, and you could really have a lot of fun with those. So yeah, and the Cry Havoc, tough to paint. Papa Bear Mike with the brush, yay. Yes. You need mini bamboo. I don't have bamboo. What I'm going to do, I've got this yellow for these guys as a hats. I'm going to probably use this yellow for the guys with the kind of the straw hat. So I've got this yellow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this yellow, and I'll end up washing it with a diluted Seraphim sepia wash, and that'll give it it's going to give it a brownish yellow. So I want it to resemble something like straw. Yeah, Wild Boys. Again, when you get done, man, is it great to sit back and look at them, and again, and then to play with them on the table. You know, it's so fun to play with fully painted miniatures on the table that are, you know, because again, I think it really brings enjoyment to the game, and it makes the game that much more immersive and that much more fun to play when the models are painted. It also really helps out too when our model, you know, when we start to get into these skirmish battles and stuff like this. It's going to be great that we have one blue army or one red army, one green army, or whatever color I think about painting the other army, and it's going to be great because you can see the differentiation. It makes the game go smoother, and again, it keeps you from making crazy errors sometimes when you mix up your troops. World War II games, I sometimes have a hard time with that with my bolt action guys because everybody's wearing green. So I got to use multiple. I've got probably 7 shades of green that I use with my bolt action guys. So I kind of make just so I can differentiate them a bit when I need them on the battlefield. Pandemic Cthulhu. I've actually never seen the minis in that. I didn't even know it had miniatures. So, all right. I guess I will try this and see if I don't scare anybody for by moving this up like this. Wow. Yeah, that's so okay, guys. All right. So thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Thanks for painting with me. Thanks for, you know, again, hanging out and giving me inspiration on sometimes when I struggle with how to paint things. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to say 90% sure I'll be doing the battle stations tomorrow. I need to get some minis primed, and I have to think of some color schemes. So I'm going to be looking through the books and looking to see what I want to do. So you'll see me do some minis tomorrow. I'll do something different than base coating. I'll try to get some of those primed and base coated early so you can see something different, because I know it can sometimes be boring seeing the base coating, but I try to offer a variety of what I paint so that you can see multiple different stages, and I like to use them as like a tool so that you can come back to and say, well, what does base coating look like? What does shading look like? What does highlighting look like? What do metals look like, stuff like that. And again, between my videos and Rob's videos, you should have tons of resources to go back to just to see how we did things, so that then you can start to develop your own style, which again, like mine, is a hybrid of about 5 different painters that I've seen that I watch all the time, and I kind of meld their things together. There's things I like to do, there's some things I don't like to do, and that's just kind of how I've developed my own style. So again, I hope you guys get into that as well. I'll put the video up tonight, so I'll put the reminder up tonight, so you should see it with you know, to what time. Again, I'll try for 6 o'clock tomorrow. I don't see why that'll be a problem. Just got to double check that with the queen, my queen, not Rob's, and we will see how that goes. Anything else real fast on the chat? See you later, Leland. Thanks for helping me out. Thanks for the great thumbnail. I love it. It really captures again the color theory, which I really love that. War of the Ring. I just saw that. I've never played it. Looks like a great game to play. The minis on that look like that's quite an undertaking. Whenever I get bored, before I started doing this, I used to paint the Twilight Imperium 3 little ships. They remind me a lot of the War of the Ring minis. They're kind of not really detailed, but they can have a lot of fun to paint them. So, guys, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow night. And remember, we'll have a live playthrough this weekend. I think it's going to be on Sunday right now. So again, you'll check out the channel, keep up with that. You'll always see the updates coming there. And guys, thanks a lot for helping me out with my inspiration tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I'll hope to talk to you guys again tomorrow night. Thanks for watching, guys.